This is Emma reporting to you from the Tigris, Euphrates River Valley, Sumerian city-states Babylon Empire. We will be discussing the economy of this region. In the Tigris and Euphrates River Valley, the Sumerians did indeed have economic interdependence throughout the society. Trade refers to the exchange of goods of units of value between the separate countries. They trade using the two rivers. Most of the time, they were trading with present-day Syria, northern Iraq, Turkey, and Egypt in the Indus River Valley. They depended a lot on these countries to trade with them. If the countries didn't trade with them, how could they have survived? Trading was a very important role in the civilization. It provided food and drink for everyone, and more importantly, great supplies and a form of money. Now remember, back in those days, there was not money. Trade really was trade. There was no give me a supply and I'll give you money. The Sumerians were trading imported goods of copper, tin, and timber for dried fish, wool, wheat, and metal goods. Not everyone in the civilization had to do the same kind of work for survival. This is called division of labor. For example, some people became craftsmen and used their special skills to help the society. The Sumerians also used ziggurats, a pyramid-shaped structure that formed part of Sumerian temple to store goods. Normal ziggurats were used for religious purposes, but if they needed more space to store things, they resorted to the ziggurats. The Sumerians believed that the success of the crops depended on the gods. Geography was a very important role in the trading process as well. Most of it depended on how the rivers wanted to act. Usually, the Tigris and Euphrates rivers would flood Mesopotamia at least once a year. With that being said, when the floodwater receded, it left it a thick bed of mud called silt. This was very good for the farmers to plant grain in and irrigate the fields with the river water. The results of all of this were large quantities of wheat and barley at the harvesting time, which led villages to grow. There was not always an upside to having the rivers right in your backyard. A lot of unpredictable flooding and a period of no rain left the land almost becoming a desert-like area. Also, the Sumerians did not have natural barriers for protection, so they could not really fight back. In addition to the natural resources of Sumer were very limited, and building materials and other necessary items were scarce. So in saying that, it basically depended on the flood times for how it would react trade for the civilization. The economy in this area was indeed based on a division of social classes. At the top of the class were kings, landholders, and some priests. Then were the wealthy merchants. Then in the middle were the majority of people who worked on their hands in fields and workshops. The lowest ranked were the slaves. Some of the slaves were foreigners who had been captured in war. Others were Sumerians sold into slavery as children. Social classes affected both of the lives of men and women. Women could do just the same work as men if they chose to. For example, women could be merchants, farmers, artisans, or join the priesthood and hold property in their own names. Unfortunately, many upper-class women did not learn to read or write. As I wrap up the economy part of the broadcast, I will just like to say if I had to choose an area to live, I would choose the Tigris and Euphrates River Valley. They were very successful and had a great civilization. Now on to Kenzie for your geography.